Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Well, the World Health Organization reports that close to 800,000 people die due to suicide every year, and that it is one of the leading causes of death in 15 to 19-year-olds. The most recently reported suspected suicide was that of 16-year-old Akeem Williams in late January of this year. How do our young people deal with the thoughts of suicide, and how can we stop them? To answer these and other related questions, we have online so far Dr. Donovan Thomas, President and CEO of Choose Life International. Good morning, Dr. Thomas.
Good morning, Dr. Dylan Toussaint. How are you?
Yes. Good to have you with us this morning, Doc. And how are you doing?
Yes, sir. I am good, Rev.
Great.
And there's lots of stuff going on, but we give God thanks. Let me just say congratulations to Love on 28 years of serving the nation.
Most definitely. Thank you on their behalf. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about teen suicide, and let's begin with this, Doc. How significant is teen suicide vis-a-vis other forms of suicide in Jamaica?
What we're actually seeing is lots of vulnerability too. And while I don't have the stats at hand right now, it is a cause for concern. I remember that even in one period, in a 6-month period, we had, I think 6 suicides that took place. That was a major cause for concern. And it does feature significantly. The 2 peaks in suicide in Jamaica would be the elderly, and then those who are younger, teens and early 20s. So it is a cause for concern.
Yes.
And part of what we're
Go ahead.
Part of what we're saying is that we need to make every effort as a nation to be able to understand what our young people are going through, so as to be able to avert the crisis. We need to be able to do their emotional assessment, to be able to discern what are some of the issues are impacting them before it gets to a crisis point.
Yeah, we're going to look at those momentarily. I gather that Dr. Kelly is now on.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Yes, welcome, Dr. Grace Kelly. Kelly, past president of Jamaica Association of Guidance Counselors in Education and a member of its advisory board. Dr. Kelly, there's a lot of talk about suicide ideation. What is your understanding of it? And from your experience as a guidance counselor, how prevalent do you think it is among teens in Jamaica today?
Well, suicide ideation speaks to the whole matter of having the idea that I want to commit suicide. So that's the simplest way to define that. There are challenges, and they dream about or think about committing suicide. That is not something that they would act out. All right, so that's what it is. As it relates to the prevalence of it in Jamaica, I appreciate what my colleague just said, in terms of the statistics and so on. We don't have national statistics at hand to say how prevalent it is wide scale in Jamaica. If we had that, we could also have an appreciation of what it is within the school system. But what we are aware of is that internationally, it is a threat to our young people. They are having these issues, and they are probably not fully empowered to manage. Not probably. They are not fully empowered to manage the crises and the challenges that they are having. So therefore, they are looking for an end to these crippling the effect of whatever is happening to them. And unfortunately, they choose suicide, not realizing that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Yeah, most definitely. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Yeah. Dr. Thomas, what are the main causes as well as the symptoms and signs of suicide ideation?
Good morning, Dr. Grace.
Morning.
Yes. You know, there are some risk factors that I would like to be able to highlight. Substance abuse, recent death of friends or family, exposure to bullying behavior, sexual abuse, mental health concerns, relationship problems, previous suicide attempt. Those are some of the risk factors that we're finding in teens. Also, the sense of hopelessness that prevails right now, and what we're actually finding out is that the sense of isolation that they are experiencing due to this COVID crisis that we're going through is really having a negative impact on them. They're missing their friends. They are in the house most times. Some of them live in apartments, so they have some place out where they can walk outside comfortably. And this is really impacting our young people. So those are some of the risk factors. If we talk about warning signs, I'd like to say every suicide threat must be taken seriously. Sometimes the threat is overt, sometimes it is subtle. Overt meaning, I'm going to kill myself. If I fail this exam, I'm going to kill myself. Those must be taken serious. Sometimes it is subtle. That a young person who came to me some time ago and she just waved goodbye with a big broad smile. I became very curious. And when I listened to her, I realized that her birthday was coming up and she was planning to kill herself on her birthday. Why was she smiling? Thought she had a solution. So that's a subtle. So we were able to intercept her before. Then just frequent talking about death and talking about death is a warning sign. Negative view of self. I am worthless. I am no good. I am those negative things. Then preparation for death. Teenagers prepare for death in various ways. They could give away their toys, their jackets, their bicycles. I had one young man who moved his Xbox from his parents' house 2 weeks. Or I should say, I knew of a young man who moved his Xbox from his parents' house 2 weeks before he killed himself. He took it to his friend's house. I suspect he thought that his friend would use it more and would enjoy it more. Then sometimes people talk about feeling like a burden, or teenagers are feeling burdened. For instance, a child failing in school as recent as last week Friday. I had one of those situations where a child feels that I have become a burden to parents. I am not handling online properly. I am failing in school. My report has gone downhill compared to last year, and parents are dealing with it well.
Dr. Thomas, could you just hold that thought? We're going to take a break and be right back.
The time by Phoenix Vision Healthcare, your eye center, 65 Main Street, St. Anne's Bay and Champion Plaza, Falmouth, is 7:15.
Phoenix Health and Vision Center now has 2 locations. St. Anne's Bay, 65 Main Street beside the Health Center. And now Shop 30 Champion Plaza, Falmouth, Trelawney. You heard me right. Shop 30 Champion Plaza, Falmouth, Trelawney. The only full-service eye care center for all your designer frames and designer glasses. Complete eye care. Book all your appointments now in St. Anne's Bay. Call 876-972-2388. 876-589-8327. For Falmouth and its environs, call this number 876-533-0540. Looking forward to seeing you at both locations. Phoenix Health and Vision Center. Now at Champion Plaza, Falmouth, Trelawney.
You know how Jamaican people do everything extra, right? So why should planning your retirement be any different? Introducing JNGI Silver Shield. 2-in-1 coverage for motor vehicle and home including contents. See? Extra! Imagine 25% JN member discount, emergency roadside assistance, accident forgiveness up to $1 million and more! JNGI Silver Shield. Exclusively for members of the Caribbean community of retired persons. Visit jngi.com. JNGI. We'll help you find a way. A member of the JN Group.
Want 50% off your mobile each month? It's easy. Just add your Flow Mobile to your Flow Home Internet. Save more on the connectivity you need to work, study, and stay entertained wherever you are. Get 50% off your mobile each month simply by adding your Flow Mobile to your Flow Home Internet. Visit a Flow store today and sign up for more savings. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and we are discussing this morning understanding and dealing with teen suicide. And in so doing, we have online Dr. Grace Kelly, past president of Jamaica Association of Guidance Counselors in Education and a member of its advisory board, and Dr. Donovan Thomas, CEO of Choose Life International. Dr. Thomas, you were giving us some more things to look out for.
All right, good. Well, before I do that, I was also in the meanwhile just trying to see if I could pick up some statistics regarding teen suicide that you asked earlier.
Okay.
And while there is, I'm looking at some figures here, and this is 2017 figures, and I am seeing of 20 persons that took their lives within a particular time, 3 of them were 14 and under. Oh. So that looks like close to 15% from just that figure there alone.
Okay.
So
you said 23 and 20 of them were 16.
Say again?
And under? You said it was of the 23, 20 of them. Okay.
No, of the 22 persons, 3 of them were 14 and under. So okay. It is featuring, and I hope I can grab some more stats during the time that we are here. But just to get back to warning signs, self-harm, cutting behavior. We had just talked about preparation for death. We had just talked about feeling like a burden, self-harm, cutting behavior, general sense of hopelessness and no hope for the future. Sometimes there's increased aggression and irritability, drastic changes in mood and behavior, and just deciding that they're going to engage in risky behaviors. And we see that even in terms of some of these gang warfare. If you really think about what's going on, some of these people get involved in these gangs and they're really very suicidal. I don't know, no matter. Life is so hopeless, so they could easily decide to get involved. Then social isolation or just feeling alone, which we're seeing plenty of that right now. And then possession of or access to means of death. Those are some of the warning signs that I'd love to be able to share with you right now.
Before I ask a specific question of Dr. Kelly, Dr. Thomas, those that you mentioned as warning signs, couldn't it be argued that these are regular, everyday for some people, things that you notice about young people? They go through different phases and stages of life and crisis moments. How do we guard against paranoia in that regard? That we see 1 or 2 of these things and we say, and then we start to become, overly frantic about the situation.
Yeah, I think we've got to remain calm and to ask the relevant questions. If you hear this person talking about death all this time and drawing disconnected body parts and those kind of things, it's okay to ask. My son, my daughter, I notice you're drawing over this time. I notice your utterances. Have you had thoughts of hurting yourself? And
we should do some probing.
Do some probing. Talk with them about what's going on. Be slow to judge, but but make sure that you're keeping in touch with your teen to say what's going on. Because many times when teenagers or even adults die by suicide, and we hear people say, "Oh, we never saw the signs." Well, guess what? We don't know the signs. So we need to learn the signs and then be on the lookout for them.
Is it possible that there are no signs at all shown up? Is it possible that there are no signs? The person is just normal. In quotation.
Well, sorry, Doc, let me just respond quickly. I have had some situations where I've been into some situations where persons have died by suicide, and they are saying no signs, no signs. But as they give the narrative as to what is happening in the person's life, I am able to pick up what some of those possible signs and some of those warning signs. But that's why I'm saying most times we don't know it. But Dr. Grace was about
Dr. Kelly wanted to come in.
Yes, I wanted to comment, and it's really an honor to share this space with Dr. Donovan Thomas because of his expertise and experience in the area. And I just want to add just a little. It takes the trained eyes and ears to pick up and see some of these things. And for family members and those who are interacting with young people closely, couple of things that we would recommend: look for patterns, look for trends, look for consistency or sudden shift in their regular patterns, behaviors, and so on. If you look for those, you might be able to pick up some things. Also, if you are not a farmer with animals, why are you going to buy rope? Why are you going to buy chemicals that farmers use, things that people may use to commit suicide? It may sound simple, but please just look for patterns and take nothing. Dr. Thomas mentioned it earlier. Take nothing for granted. Somebody said, no, you just diss me, man. Me, I go just kill myself or whatever happened. Take nothing for granted, because the one to which you turn a blind eye may very well be the one you should have focused on.
Dr. Kelly, you mentioned a trained eye. The average parent guardian perhaps doesn't have those trained eyes. What do they do?
Right. I appreciate that question. That is why we seek the support of those persons like the guidance counselors in the schools and the persons like Dr. Donovan Thomas and other counseling psychologists, persons at the child guidance clinic and so on. But simply, parents, those who are listening, you know your child. You know that they used to get up 7 o'clock in the morning, no later than 7:15. They have a routine. You know that when they are finished with school, now they are in quarantine, so they are at home, but you know the pattern. You know that they usually get home at certain times. For young ladies, sometimes depends. They don't just come home from school and rush into the bathroom. And you find that a young girl coming, she rush past you, she goes straight to the bathroom to bathe. You have to wonder what happened. Because for some of them, if like what was mentioned earlier by Dr. Thomas about some of these things that trigger the persons to want to kill themselves, they might be rape. And for most persons, the easiest thing for them is like, I feel dirty. So I need to wash this thing off me. That's what I'm saying. They used to eat regularly. They change their eating pattern. So parents know their children. Nobody knows their children better than them. I hope that still exists.
That's it.
So know the pattern. Know when the patterns are changing. Look for the sudden shift and ensure that you call for help. You don't have to go and call the police and say, listen, my child changed, no one I thinking I commit suicide. No. Call a counselor and say, listen, I have been noticing that Jane or Tom has been having some difficulty with XYZ and they're giving up easily and XYZ. Just explain. And just like Dr. Thomas explained earlier, when they said, but no, it's not for real, it couldn't be, there was no sign. After he does the assessment based on the narrative, he finds those. So do it early. Don't wait until they are about to kill themselves before you call for help.
Right. Now, of course, we are emphasizing suicide prevention, but the reality is that some do commit suicide. As we are about to wrap up our discussion, I'm going to ask you both if you could, share with us what would you regard as recommendations to families, friends, associates of those who have committed suicide. Dr. Kelly and then Dr. Thomas.
I would love.
Let me start with Dr. Kelly. Let me start with Dr. Kelly, Dr. Thomas.
I just want to give you the helpline. I just want to give you the helpline before we answer that question. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, the Ministry of Health actually has a 24-hour helpline right now, 888-639-5433. So it is 888 New Life.
Okay. 888 New Life. Okay. Thanks. Yes, Dr. Kelly.
All right, so that would be one of the first steps. Call and get for help even before it happened, but after it happened, call, and more than likely the connection will be made to link you with someone who can provide the help. If the person has committed suicide to family and friends, while it might be possible that you may have done something that caused it, but try immediately not to start blaming yourself. That's a natural reaction. Everybody's going, what is it that I did do or didn't do or could have done or should have done? If you stay in that mode, you will not be able to realistically assess the situation and get the kind of help that you need to prevent yourself from getting in the level of despair that may push you into causing to want to even commit suicide. Remember that you are never alone, no matter what. There is always somebody there. Try to find a good support group. Try to link with different families, and the possibility exists that is after you get through your hurt to a certain point, you may even be able to use this as an experience to help other parents. You didn't say how much time we have left, and I don't want to. I want to give you some more time, but I'll take 20 seconds of those 2 minutes to say, I'm not sure if this was shared earlier, but the statistics show that boys are 4 times more likely to die from suicide than girls, even though girls are more likely to attempt suicide. And the reason for that is that males are usually using more lethal ways in committing suicide. So seek help. And yes. Dr.
Thomas, 1 minute.
Protective factors. Build strong connection with your children. Look for the aunties and uncles and help build strong connection with them. Encourage academic achievement. Build resilience in the lives of your children. Just don't offer excuse for them, but empower them to be able to take on the challenges and problems of life. And that would also help them to save lives. They're looking for people who care, they're looking for people to trust, and they're looking for people who will listen to them. Let's give them the listening ear that they need. God bless.
Yes. All right. We want to thank you both for joining us. Dr. Donovan Thomas, President, CEO of Choose Life International, Dr. Grace Kelly, Past President, Jamaica Association of Guidance Counselors. Have a blessed day, both of you.
God bless you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
JN Bank Live Online Banking is your quick and easy banking that's safe and secure. Sign up today. Visit jnbank.com. JN Bank will help you find a way. The time is
7:30 and a half, folks, on the Sound of Love.
The king of all feast returns, and we have great taste expectations. We're giving you 2 sandwiches, a small fries, and a drink for just $850.
Yeah, no, my kind of deal that.
Get 2 Whopper Juniors or 2 original chicken sandwiches with a small fries and soda, or mix it up with a Whopper Junior and an original chicken sandwich with a small fries and soda for less than $1,000.
That sound like lunch and dinner.
Keep your taste expectations high.
I'm a budget nice and low.
The King's Feast awaits you right now at Burger King. Taste rules your way.
This year we're still running for a cause, but this time Sigma Run 2021 is virtual. But how do you do a virtual run? First you have to register at sadicosigmarun.com and we'll send you your race kit. Set a time to run 5.5k alone or with friends between February 12 to 21. And when you're done, be sure to post your selfies with the hashtag SigmaRun2021. Log your time using the link you received on registration. And just like that, you've done your virtual run. Do it for you. Do it for charity. Sigma Virtual Run 2021. Sponsored by Reggae Marathon, Catherine Speaks, Starlight Production, Just Create, John Pinner Production, Whistling Frog, Scientix, Visual Vibe, Phase 3 Productions, Jamaica Observer, Lithographic Printers, J. White Tyson Events, Gatorade, Marksman, National Baking Company, and Digicel.
It's a season of love, and Bashko has some great ideas for your loved ones. We have traditional gifts like scented candles, gift sets, alcoholic and non-alcoholic wines, mugs, teddy bears, chocolates, personal care items, and picture frames.
Get creative and make your own basket from our wide selection of Valentine's items. Or break away from tradition and get an appliance, electronic item, bedding, or anything else you know your loved ones really want.
So let us help you spread the love this Valentine's. At Bashko, at 30 years, giving you more.
Shake it and spell it with love this Valentine's from Digicel. Download the My Digicel app and shake to collect the letters LOVE to win cash and other amazing prizes, including an exquisite diamond ring, a weekend getaway at a luxury resort, dinners for two, plus free data and credit for you and your boo. Get to shaking and spelling in the My Digicel app today. Offer ends February 27. Digicel. Better together.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Well, let's take a look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. In the Observer, Jamaica closing embassy in Brazil. And we also see here that criminal factories, revamping schools turning out, gunmen central to crime solution, says Chang. And then the world's second oldest person survives COVID-19 at age 116. Wow. And then in the Gleaner, murder leaves Bulbe family in grief. Mount Salem Zoso under fire. Only 1 out of 582 detainees charged. And Beanie Man pleads not guilty to curfew noise. Those are some of the major stories in our newspapers this morning. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our Facebook and WhatsApp questions. What do you think about the belief that Christianity is a white man's religion? Please leave a comment on our Facebook page, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
Do you remember when love was little teeny weeny and a grow? Well, we have most certainly grown, and we stand at 28 years strong. Tune in each day to find out what we have in store for you. It's the Family Station's anniversary month. Join in our celebrations. Love 101, 28 years.
From a little teeny weeny and a grow. Listen to my little tambourine out the door. Let me sing them.
Call it all wives to be, husbands to be, and even those who already are. In recognition of our 28th anniversary, To Have and To Hold has a little something in store for you. So grab a pen and paper and ensure to tune in this Thursday, February 11 at 5:30 p.m. for our Love 101 Crash Course, where hosts Colleen Beckles and guest Pastor Napoleon Black will take a look at what is love. What does it mean to love? Expectations, boundaries, sex, and so much more. You can't afford to miss all this information inside the truly marvelous program that's designed to have and to hold your marriage. This and every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. here on Love 101 FM, the family station.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And Shivani, is there any feedback?
Yes, I'm seeing something. Read the first watch. It says sometimes the costs for counseling can be um a little high. I think that's what they're trying to say, especially persons don't want to necessarily share with a guidance counselor. But that helpline is a start. Yeah?
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I've seen.
Sometimes the cost is a little higher, the person said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks to the person who gave the feedback. Well, as we now go into the second watch, listeners, you know, there's someone by the name of Kurt Kennedy, a so-called frustrated Christian artist, who once stated in an article, in recent years, there has been a rise of black people leaving Christianity. Now, if this is really so, it begs the question, why are they leaving? Is Christianity a white man's religion? If so, why? If not, why not? To address these and other related issues, we have joining us on this, the 11th day of Black History Month, the Reverend Marvia Laws, pastor of the Sligoville Circuit of Baptist Churches, and the Reverend Winton Williams, member of the Hanover Street Baptist Church. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Dr. Toussaint. Good morning, Reverend Winton. How are you all?
Sister Marv, how are you doing, Rev?
Yes,
I'm well. How are you?
God bless you. Good.
Doing okay. All right.
Yes.
All right. Let's see if we can hit the ground running. What are your opening thoughts on the topic, both of you, especially in light of the fact that this is Black History Month? Beginning with you, Reverend Laws.
Well, thank you for having me, Dr. Toussaint,
Yes.
and I'm happy to share on the issue. My opening thoughts. First of all, Black History Month remains very important and significant because it sheds light, it highlights a lot of the issues that the Black peoples or people of African descent continue to face. And it's not just that it's part of the ethnic or so-called racial issue, but it's a lot of social issues around the world and that we continue to struggle with. So for that reason, I believe that a topic such as this is quite relevant for us to reflect on, even though I would change the topic. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get there. But reflecting on these questions and struggles that persons are having that are real, and it impacts their faith and what they believe and how they can worship, I feel they must be answered.
Thank you, Reverend Williams.
My own thoughts, feelings. I think we're living in a time where there's a lot of increased awareness of people's sense of identity. And as a foundation, particularly, well, in our own country, Jamaica, people are beginning to ask a lot of questions. The way we live out our lives as a community of believers, because Jamaica is largely Christian. And so, in light of the whole Black history, which tends to bring to focus this kind of awareness, our faith versus our Black identity, maybe it's a good time to talk about this. And you mentioned many are now leaving the Christian faith, which I find very disturbing because of its association with the white man's religion.
Yes.
So I think it's a good opportunity to hear some issues and some perspectives.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you see what's happening in America and across the world. I'm hearing in recent times a lot about Black Lives Matter, and so there are persons we gather who have been using the occasion, the opportunity to highlight what they regard as the whiteness of the Christian religion, and therefore in this Black History Month we're trying to zero in on that. But what about those Reverend Laws who would argue that it does not matter whether we believe Christianity is a white man's religion or not?
I would disagree with that statement. It matters. The perception of a thing in a person's mind causes that person to act a particular way. So we are talking about a perception that Christianity is a white man's religion. One of the challenges I find with this is that I don't agree with that, and perhaps the history is not being taught sufficiently. First of all, if we are looking at Jesus, the central figure of Christianity, the one after whom the Christ, the one after whom the first peoples were called Christians, he is a Palestinian Jew. And then if we drill down in that, so the religion would have emerged in what we call that Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, later so-called and politicized region. He emerged in humble circumstances. He emerged as a preacher, a prophet, and one who was speaking as a figure under colonial, under the time of Roman Empire, and his messages challenged a lot of what we find important for us today and significant even in the Black Lives Matter movement. I believe, though, what has happened is that we have not taught the history sufficiently to sort of separate that figure and the message of Jesus sufficiently from the Gospels. With all the scholarship and the controversies, set that aside. I'm talking about preaching a message for religious purposes to build people of faith, those who choose to believe, and look at what has happened now when Christianity became Romanized and we'd say Europeanized and began to expand into the places that would be colonized, namely Africa. So when Christianity went that route, and became what we would call missionary theology, how the missionaries taught Christianity, some of the practices that accompanied their teaching of Christianity and spreading the good news of love. It's contrary. We know that people are looking back at the history, and especially in light of the protests, looking at how slavery, the transatlantic slave trade, accompanied. Yes? Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? You're not hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing the Rev Laws. Yes, go ahead. We're hearing you. Yes.
Okay. When you're looking at how the transatlantic slave trade was wrapped up integrally in how Europe expanded, and then the way that the enslaved African peoples have been taught Christianity, that is a problem. So the perception is spot on for persons to arrive at the conclusion that this is a white man's religion, because there are a lot of things that needs to be explained, needs to be repented for, and needs to be unmasked.
All right, stick up in right here, Reverend Laws. We're going to take a break and be right back.
You're tuned to Love 101. The family station is now 7:45.
A little extra breathing space makes all the difference. Like many homeowners, you may now need some financial breathing space. Switch to a Sagicor Bank mortgage and get a 2-month payment holiday, attractive interest rate, plus a pre-approved credit card. Make the switch today and get more. With no upfront cost to pay, you'll have a lot more breathing space. Call 888-SAGICOR today. Conditions apply.
We're working on a brighter day, you don't have to fret. You know your family secure, you don't need no stress. It's like you run a 5K, set the pace, win the race, celebrate, and you still never bust no sweat. We see we brother and we sister, this is how we heal them. Easy now, you want guardian life, it's a nation we're building. Many hearts, but we all want the same thing. Live secure and live easy.
My daughter calls me the
bestest dad ever.
And as her father, I have to live up to that. She looks to me for everything. But I have other responsibilities too. As a track coach, I have to guide my team to run on the track and not into trouble, cause plenty of that out there. My days don't stop, and neither can I. So I need something to take care of me while I take care of everybody else. That drink is Malta. And it tastes good too. Big up yourself, Malta.
You're full of life.
Digicel. Some things in life are better together, like Kingston and dancehall, like Sundays and streaming football, like secret texts between best friends, like video chats with your granny on weekends, like a road trip and playing songs on load.
At Digicel, we're bringing together all the experiences you love, from latest shows, sports, music, radio, breaking news to HD video chats, cloud storage, and more. Jamaica's fastest mobile network. Digicel, better together.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and we are examining the topic, is Christianity a white man's religion? And we have online Reverend Winton Williams and Reverend Marvia Laws. Reverend Williams is soon be bringing you back in. Reverend Laws, you'd like to complete your thought?
No, I'll stop there and allow Reverend.
Okay, all right, Reverend Williams. Come in, Rev.
You're looking at the whole idea of arguments that seem to support the idea that as long as we adhere to the belief, that it shouldn't matter whether it's a white man's. Well, no. We have our awareness of our history has heightened to levels, and I think has therefore caused us now to really become suspicious. So I am all for checking out our sources that claimed this is really God's inspired word. Let's check it out. Oh, I'm all for it. Let's check it out. Let's do our research. Let's do our reading. We're looking at the Jesus figure. What is our primary source of this man? The Bible. And let's therefore check out the reliability of the documentation that claim. You see, one of the things that I look at personally that has helped me throughout this journey, faith walk, is, are the documents reliable enough? Has it been through the processes of literary criticism, textual criticism? Can we trust that process enough? And then look at the claims that it makes. I don't know if the scriptures, I probably might get to it, I don't know. I don't know if it is endorsing in any way, any form of slavery, racism.
Oh, it's not?
These things, racism or slavery or any of these things.
Okay.
Scriptures endorse. I'm suggesting the very testimony of the scriptures as it portrays to us or brings to us this Christ figure to reflect upon. I don't know if in its projecting and putting to us this Christ figure, if it is in any way suggesting that this Christ figure condones in any way prejudice, racism, or any such.
Yes. Well,
so
let's put it to the test then, Reverend Williams and Reverend Laws. Reverend Laws, there are some scriptures. I mean, Reverend Williams is saying, let us check it out. Well, let's look at some scriptures. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5, I believe, states, I am black but comely, in the King James Version. NIV says, I'm dark I am, yet lovely. Why those conjunctions? What and yet?
All right, so let me just back up a little bit to what Rev Winton just said. First of all, one of the issues that we have to face is that the readers and interpreters of Scripture come from a particular place. We read with context, we read with baggage, we read from our cultural perspective. We are not pure people, pure readers. And even as Reverend Winton says, that the original readers of passages and those who would have, set some of the standards that we hold dearly to today to talk about issues of whether there's textual criticisms and so on. Who were these mostly men, white men, who sat down and read some of these things and white men.
Yes.
So, but I'm just saying that's one on the one hand. But then you had people who were African too, like Augustine. So we had a milieu of people. So I don't want to throw it out entirely, but I'm just saying that when you look at what we have received in terms of scholarship, in theological reflection and the standards by which we judge what is right and what is wrong. Who are the people? Who are those theologians? Mostly white men. But come over to the passage now. There is a third reading that I would like to add to this, though, Dr. Toussaint. And it's from the New Revised Standard Version, which is in fact my preferred version. And it reads, I am black and I am beautiful. I love that one. So the conjunctions that are in King James and the New Testament and the New International Version suggest that I am black, but which suggests that I am not necessarily of as beautiful. It's like a concession. Yeah, I'm dark, but yet I'm lovely.
But most of the other translations, sorry, but most of the modern translations use the negative conjunction.
Notice that
you're looking at revised, but that's the only one, maybe.
And I'm saying that the New Revised Standard Version, if you use that version of the Bible, really in terms of closeness to manuscripts and loyalty to translations, you will find something more suitable.
Subjective view.
Yes. But I am not knocking what you have presented, because what you have presented is what most persons are seeing.
Right.
And this is a reality that we are faced with. The idea of blackness has been painted a particular way and communicated a particular way in Scripture. And the reality is, though, that if we're going to use this passage to speak about African peoples, it's not spot on. We have to go a little bit further. A lot more African peoples are present in Scripture. And this particular one could give problems for persons who feel that it is saying that I am black, but I might look good, etc. And that would be one of the ways that we have a problem with interpreting ourselves in Scripture. We have a problem of seeing ourselves in a positive light because you're black like sin. It's always a negative portrayal of the self, and this is important for people, and we should not.
From the Bible
as a psychological. Yes.
Yeah. Let me, Reverend Williams, your take on that?
Well, I do agree with Rev Marvia there. The conjunction issue using but. Yeah, you can read it with the but, and it still, to me, comes out very positive.
It comes out positive?
It can. As I say, it's how you read it. I go with the conjunction and.
Yes.
Because it's a pretty reasonable interpretation as well, except it breaks down as you read a little further. There seems to have been an issue in this particular instance, and the issue surrounding this particular beloved was her laboring in the field, unlike the other young maidens whom she was with. And she stood out. Her complexion stood out. And yes, the reading could convey just on the surface a negative, if that's the direction we want to go in our reading, in our understanding of what the whole point of that was about. She was working hard. She apparently was of lighter complexion. And because of the hard toil, she got tanned. I mean, tanning today, we find white people wanting to tan. we find white people wanting to dance.
They don't want to stay that way, though.
They don't want to stay that way.
No, they want to get back to the whiteness and the rich man.
There is a reason for that, of course.
well, you and I would know that.
Yeah.
I mean, we believe in a deeper a deeper truth reality for us. Black is just what it is. It's beautiful.
Yes.
You know, but for
But
a
then,
personal
Reverend Williams, in the interest of time, we have songs like Lord Wash Me and I Shall Be Whiter Than Snow. Still being sung in our churches. We have images of a blue-eyed white Jesus.
Yes, we need to get rid of.
Visual representation. I agree.
Yes.
I agree. Let's change. Let's begin presenting what is a little bit more historically accurate, geographically accurate. Let's move to that. And then let us therefore try and change the perception, the visual representations that are out there. I do accept that, but I'm free to reject it. And
I agree with that.
I say to my audience, do not hold to that. I saw a beautiful picture down at my church of the 12, and they were dark skinned. They were dark skinned, and it looked beautiful to me. I could more relate quickly, instinctively to that picture, and therefore make a connection to the spirit and the Christ who was in the midst of that.
Great. Let me throw over to Reverend Laws. Lord Wash Me and I Shall Be Whiter Than Snow. Should we continue singing those songs, and why not?
First of all, again, we're talking about the use of imagery. And I think we have not placed sufficient on that in terms of building people's faith and their spirituality. The imagination is critical to worship. And when you are singing a song like Lord Wash Me and I Shall Be Whiter Than Snow, and we're talking about the imagery of being washed in blood, you don't turn out washed in blood and turn out to be whiter than snow. Clearly not. So first to teach people the power of imagery, what a metaphor is like, and that you're turning whiter than snow doesn't mean that you are now going to adopt whiteness, because the truth is whiteness is taught. Whiteness has been systematically taught. Well, on the one hand as purity, but it has been taught as a social way of being, a class way of being, a way of being a better person.
So we should stop singing it? We should stop singing it, Reverend Laws?
We can change it.
What should we sing then? Lord Wash Me and I Shall Be Pure Than Snow? What?
No, we don't have to use whiter than snow. In Jamaica, when the Lord can wash me and whiter than what? There is no snow in Jamaica. So this brings me to an important point to say that even as you take this hymn, and I'm glad we have somebody like Reverend Winton here, because during this pandemic, when I've had to be finding music to use for worship services, I've had to turn to a lot of Father Richard Holonger and friends, and I'm disappointed by the lack of hymnody, words and the lyrics that speaks to my context. Tell me about cane fields, tell me about grass, tell me about potholing on the road, tell me about things that matter to us.
There are other parts of the song that are theologically sound, isn't it? We throw the whole baby with the bath water?
No, I'm not saying throw the baby with the bath water. I'm saying that we need to that alienate us, that we cannot connect with, and replace them with things that are representative of our context in which we worship as legitimate human beings in a Caribbean context.
Time is up on us. So sorry. I want to thank you both for a stimulating discussion. And we'll look at that song a little bit more. Lord Wash Me and I Shall Be Whiter Than Snow.
Yes.
All right?
All right.
Have a wonderful day.
Right. Thank you for having me. All right, take care, both of you. Bye.
God bless you.
Thank you, listeners, for being with us. For information on how to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Miss Kathy Gale, and our guests. Please join Mr. Stokely Marshall next week as he continues to look at the issues of the day. I am Dylan Toussaint, and I hand you back to Love in the Morning with Siobhan Blair.
Get the fiber and protein you need from the beans you love. Grace gives you better choices for a better life.
The time brought to you by Grace Kennedy is
8 o'clock, folks. It's time for the program Forward in Faith.
The Lord will return to this earth some sweet day or some